Imagine a darkness so profound, it stole the childhoods and lives of dozens of boys, leaving an entire nation gripped by terror. What drives a person to commit such unspeakable acts? And how does a society come to terms with a monster who walked among them for years? Today, we're delving into one of Brazil's most chilling true crime sagas, a story that rips through the fabric of humanity and forces us to confront the darkest corners of the human psyche. We're talking about Francisco das Chagas, Rodrigues de Brito, a name etched in infamy as the killer of children. This isn't just a tale of crime. It's a deep dive into the societal failures, the psychological torment, and the desperate search for justice that followed in his devastating wake. Francisco das Chagas, Rodrigues de Brito, was born in 1965 in São Luís, the capital of Maranhão, a state in Brazil's northeast region. On the surface, he was an ordinary man, a shoemaker by trade, sometimes working as a boatman. He lived a humble life, unremarkable to those around him, a ghost in plain sight. For years, there were no flashing red lights, no obvious warnings of the terror he would unleash. He blended in, a quiet presence in communities that would soon be scarred by his actions. His reign of terror began around 1991, and it would stretch for over a decade until 2003. His hunting grounds were the rural, often impoverished areas of Maranhão and later the neighboring state of Pará. His victims were always the same, young boys, typically between 8 and 15 years old, full of life and dreams. He would lure them with promises that preyed on their innocence and their families' struggles. A bit of money, some candy, a chance for an adventure. He'd gain their trust, leading them to remote, secluded spots near rivers or dense vegetation. Once isolated, the nightmare began. He would sexually assault his victims, then brutally murder them, often by strangulation or drowning. But what made his crimes particularly gruesome and disturbing was the consistent, macabre ritual he performed post-mortem. He would meticulously remove certain organs, primarily the eyes and sometimes the heart, from the deceased boys. These mutilations were not random, they were a chilling signature, a deeply unsettling pattern that investigators would later struggle to comprehend. For years, the disappearances of these young boys were treated as isolated incidents. Parents, often poor and with limited resources, reported their missing children to local police, but the dots weren't immediately connected. In a vast country like Brazil, with widespread social inequalities and a strained justice system, individual cases could easily get lost. Families agonized, desperately searching for their sons, often with little help. The sheer number of missing children reports began to mount in Maranhão, especially in towns like Paço do Lumiar, São José de Ribamar, and Raposa. A chilling sense of dread settled over these communities, mothers warning their children not to talk to strangers, fathers organizing their own search parties. The problem escalated dramatically. The number of victims grew, and the similarities in the cases became undeniable. Young boys going missing, bodies later found, often mutilated in similar remote locations. The police force, initially overwhelmed and under-resourced, began to realize they weren't dealing with separate tragedies, but the work of a single, highly dangerous individual. This was a serial killer, and he was targeting the most vulnerable. The break in the case, a moment of profound relief mixed with horror, came in December 2003. A 13-year-old boy named Jonathan Costa was found alive after an attack, though severely injured. He had been left for dead, but miraculously survived. Jonathan, bravely, was able to identify his attacker, Francisco das Chagas. This was the first time an actual survivor had lived to tell the tale and point directly to the monster. Following Jonathan's testimony, police quickly apprehended Chagas. What followed was a series of chilling confessions that sent shockwaves across Brazil and beyond. Chagas calmly recounted his horrific crimes, detailing each murder with unnerving precision. He admitted to killing 42 boys, 30 in Maranhão and 12 in Pará. His explanations for the mutilations were vague and disturbing, often referencing a supposed pact or a belief that the organs would help him stay young and strong. This ritualistic aspect suggested a deep-seated psychopathology, hinting at motives far more complex than simple sexual gratification. The impact on the families of the victims was immeasurable. For years, they had lived with uncertainty, pain, and the gnawing fear that their children's killer walked free. Chagas's confessions, while providing answers, also reopened deep wounds. The trials that followed were lengthy and emotionally charged. Chagas was convicted of multiple murders and received several life sentences, cumulatively totaling over 500 years in prison. The justice system, slow and often criticized, had finally cornered its prey. This case raises profound questions for psychology and sociology students. What combination of factors creates such a predator? Was it a difficult childhood, trauma, or a neurological imbalance? While no single, simple answer exists, experts have pointed to possible psychopathy, a severe personality disorder characterized by a lack of empathy, manipulativeness, and antisocial behavior. The societal context is also critical. The vulnerability of impoverished children, the initial lack of resources for investigation, and the slow recognition of a serial killer at work. This case underscored the urgent need for better protections for children and a more robust, responsive justice system in marginalized communities. Francisco das Chagas, Rodrigues de Brito, remains incarcerated, a chilling reminder of the evil that can lurk within society. His story is a dark chapter in Brazil's history, a testament to the enduring pain of loss and the relentless pursuit of justice. It reminds us of the critical importance of protecting the innocent and understanding the complex factors that allow such horrors to unfold. If you found this deep dive into true crime compelling, make sure to support this channel by liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching.